You're listening to the Orchestra Teacher Podcast. Welcome to the Orchestra Teacher Podcast. This is Dr. Charles Laux, and we have a really great guest today, Miss Corie Benton from Cobb County, Georgia, here at Pope High School. Welcome, Corie. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited and fascinated by all of the
Well, I'm glad you're able to come over and do it live. It's like nothing like a live face-to-face conversation. And the remote podcasts are great as well, but this is just extra fun, and it's awesome that you're here.
All right, I'm excited.
So Corie teaches here in Cobb County, Georgia at Pope High School. And how long have you been there at Pope?
Oh, gosh. Answers I should know. This is year 9.
Year 9. Awesome. Mm-hmm. And tell us a little bit about where you were before and some of the things you've done.
I started teaching in Texas, in Plano, Texas, when I graduated from college, not high school, from college, and went to Texas, and I was there for 4 years. And then from Texas came to Georgia, and I was in Clayton County for several years. Took 2 stints, 2 years, and went to the Cobb County Middle School and came back to my high school roots. And
Nice.
was back in Clayton County and then eventually to Cobb.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Well, that's really cool. And so this is, how many years have you been teaching then?
This is year 28.
28?
Yes.
Starting year 28. Same.
Yes.
I think we're on the same path.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. And so you've been really active with ASTA here in Georgia. You served as president, and could tell us a little bit about when was that? That was just 2 terms ago?
2 terms ago, yes.
We forget these years with COVID, and
yes,
it's like
COVID.
A time warp, right?
COVID really took my timeline off. So I was after Sam Lowder, but before Bo. Okay. And so it was really nice because we all work really hard, but we are really in a bubble, and we do so many things that we don't get a chance to see other people until we go to the all states or to the unorchestras and get to see people from other parts of the state or even our metro area. So it was nice to get to really know a lot of my colleagues and get our colleagues and the amazing things that they're doing, because Georgia is on the map musically.
We got it going on.
I tell you, people don't realize how, because you're in the moment and you're doing it. I mean, present company included, just amazing educators and in all aspects, but it just specifically in the string area, it's been great. It was great getting to put faces and getting to know the people that I was, that I knew about but didn't actually know. So it was awesome.
Then it's always nice with ASTA to kind of bring everybody together, like the people from South Georgia, particularly, that we don't get to interact with a lot.
Correct.
It's just really nice to have that interaction and learn from them. And
I really enjoyed connecting with the college kids too, our future educators, people that will replace us one day. So it was really nice to see and help those kids come up and see them like almost fanning out over some of the people like I was. Wow. I knew who Charles Laux was by name, but I didn't know by face. I knew who David Eccles was by name, but these names. And now I was like, whoa, okay. Yeah. Georgia, come. I know this people.
It's super fun to be around so many great teachers and just learn from them, and PD workshops or just meetings and discussions, and it's really awesome.
Yeah,
to work together.
Yeah,
good. And so tell us. I know that you are. You've just been asked to do the NOF as an adjudicator for NOF 24 in Louisville.
Yes, that's exciting. Didn't see it coming. I was very excited to be asked. My kids, when it was in Atlanta, not this last time, but the time before, we participated in NOF, and it was for all of us was this incredible experience.
Who were your judges?
Oh gosh,
you remember?
I don't remember my judges, but I remember,
or the clinician.
I think Michael Alexander was one of my judges. I do remember him, and my clinician was Jeff Grogan.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's a moment. The kids left just inspired, and we were all on a high. And he just did like little things. It was great. And so we did that, and that was wonderful. And to be asked to now to be a part of that on the other end is just great. And
Yeah.
watching it this year in Orlando, I got to see some groups that blew my mind.
Yeah, you and me both. You and me
yeah.
both. It's Chris Selby's group.
Oh.
They won, but
Yeah.
I was just like jaw dropped.
There so many of them. Just it's amazing the talent we have out there. It's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, my thought would be, judging NOF is like, what do you say
Right.
to a group? Like, I mean,
Into-
obviously there's going to be a lot of praise, but
Correct.
when you find praise, you definitely want to try to find something that they can work on, improve on, and I
Exactly.
don't know.
Maybe you could play that one set lower. I don't know. No, I'm just joking. It will be that will be the challenge for me for sure. That's what I am. I am a little bit like I am making sure that I'm critical but helpful.
Right.
You want to be able to say you can work on this, knowing that they may or may not play this music again.
Right.
But at the same time, this is also an encouraging moment. You don't want to beat a group down or to make them feel uninspired or like they did all this work, and you want to reward them for all the work that they've done.
Yeah.
So finding the right words to say, I think I'm okay with the words to say, but just making sure that I'm critical enough,
Yes.
the right amount of critique.
Yeah. And they pay a lot of money to be there, so
They do. Yes.
Last thing they want is to get like ripped apart,
Correct.
and I think they don't accept groups that deserve to get ripped apart.
Correct.
So that's always a nice thing. You're not dealing with
Correct.
like kind of a general public. Like there's an audition process they
Yes.
go through.
Yes.
I have not done NOF, so
You
not participated.
you submit audio when you go through. You complete the application and you submit your pictures and your photographs. But you
okay.
also do an audio, and it is an unedited audio of you get to pick your pieces. And I think you did 2 pieces. I think we did 2 pieces. Time limit, and so most people choose their performance evaluation recording, and then you'll find out in the summertime. Well, that's when we found out in the summer.
Okay.
Right before that we were going, so it was exciting.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's going to be really cool, and that's end of March.
End of March,
Yeah.
in Kentucky. And it'll be exciting. I've never been to Louisville, so I'm.
Oh yeah,
This will be my first time going.
I think it was there. I forget what year it was. Oh, I don't remember what year it was.
Yeah, I didn't go
09?
that year. I don't
remember what year it was. I forget. It's been a while,
Years,
but it's a great place, and there's some things to do, and I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's pretty central for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I know that ASTA is talking about trying to get the conference back, in different places.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
And so you just got off the board, and I just
did,
came on the
yes.
board of
Yay.
ASTA. Yeah. So I guess took your spot or whatever.
That's okay.
After your
That's
term was
fine.
over.
Totally fine.
Can you tell
Yes.
us a little bit about like what it was like being on the ASTA board? I just had my first meeting. It was just like the welcome to the board meeting.
Okay.
On last Thursday, and then I have the bigger meetings with the whole board.
Okay.
Next week.
Okay. Before I answer your question, how did you feel? How did you feel in this introduction meeting?
It's kind of neat to see the inner workings of the group,
Yes.
and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that the average person, I guess, doesn't see.
Right.
The members don't see, and there's a lot to consider when you're setting up a conference. Like they try to do it really far in advance, or they have to do it really far in advance, and then there's just all of these inner workings that are just fascinating, and making sure that all the board members are going to follow through and are going to make the right choices for the organization and not other interests or whatever. So but yeah, I'm looking forward to serving and just having that opportunity to work closely with Rebecca and the whole board and learn from them and so it'll be a cool experience.
It was I think, piggybacking off of that, for sure, it was overwhelming in the beginning. I will say the first few months.
I feel a little bit that right now.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm making decisions for an entire organization.
Yeah.
And that is intimidating. That is intimidating.
You start to have that self-doubt, like, am I capable of doing
correct.
this?
Correct. And
we talked a little bit about that imposter syndrome.
Yes.
With some of our teachers on the podcast here, and it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. It is. I enjoyed my time. I will say I probably enjoyed the latter half more than the first half because the first half was all learning. And it was, again, that overwhelming, like, okay, wait, all right, the processes and how we go through. And like you were talking about, the behind the scenes of not just the conference, but budget and marketing and language. And during this time, COVID was happening. And so how to navigate through all of these things. And also the whole George Floyd situation was happening. And so it was, well, not situation, but the George Floyd death happened and the reaction of that and how what is the organization's responsibility. So many things were happening at one time. I feel like the leadership was really good and graceful, especially the way they handled a lot of things. And when I came on, Kristen Pellegrino was in charge, and then awesome. Rebecca took over. Well, William first, and William was passed, and then it was Kristen, and then now Rebecca. So it was the second half. I knew what to expect, and so it was okay. Now I feel like I can be more productive. Yeah. So that's I mean, and I'm excited. I got to meet people I've never met before. Again, like meeting these names that I didn't know and or I didn't know the face. I mean, I knew their name but not the face, and being able to navigate through the conference in a different way. It's different. Yeah. Because I get to go, when you usually go to a conference, you're in a session and you're in the session and you want to get I'm going to get all this stuff. But now as a board member, you have to be present in as many sessions as you can be present in, which means you're kind of doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then sometimes you miss some of the sessions you want to see. Yeah. So that it was different, but I definitely enjoyed it. And I think you will too. So I think you'll definitely enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to it. Just a great opportunity, and I'm honored to have been nominated and elected. Yeah, it's really cool. Well, cool. So at your school, how many orchestras do you have? You have 3?
4.
4.
Yes.
Okay.
So I will say technically 3, but it's 4. We have 4 different names. The first one is a freshman orchestra, and
completely
freshman, and we focus on all things we need to focus on technique because we have 2 different feeder schools and they come together. And it's about getting on the same page and working on ensemble stuff. And now...
And your 2 feeders, the personalities at those schools, the teachers...
They're very different.
And they're both amazing.
Amazing and very different. And it's the personality of the kids are different. Yeah. And so putting all that together...
From the school atmosphere.
Yes. And putting those together. So I have a freshman group, and then I have a general level orchestra, all grades, 10 to 12. And then I have a chamber group, and it's an audition group. And then my top group, it used to be called Mastery, based on for the Georgia standards.
So in Georgia, we have beginning, and even that's not beginning for high school.
Beginning, you're correct.
I always have to say that to,
Yeah, because it's not a beginning level, right.
Intermediate, advanced, and mastery.
Right. And so it was called Mastery when I got there, and I changed the name to Philharmonic because I didn't.
It's called Mastery. That's just that's kind of I guess it's a different name.
It's a different name. So I changed a couple of the names, but I didn't do it immediately. I waited and we talked to the kids about what do you think of this? We voted on it, so we now call it Philharmonic. Okay. Although on their schedule it still says.
Well, it's going to say Mastery.
Yes, but the kids know. Georgia, so we have 4 groups.
Cool. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm doing that a little bit differently next year too. When I came in. There were 3. Okay. We had a freshman group. We had the intermediate. Yes. Y'all can play if you're in 10th and 12th grade. And then we had chamber. That's it. Yes. So next year I'm going to 4. But my youngest group is not going to be freshman only.
Okay.
I'm allowing the freshmen were able to audition up.
And I do allow my freshmen to audition immediately. So they can come in. They can audition in 8th grade to go to any group.
Okay, so you do that too. Okay, so there are some 9th graders in those other groups.
Yes. I'm so sorry. Yeah. And that I mean, and they went through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in our area, and they cannot be in a different group. They have to be regardless of how many years they've played.
It's unfortunate that they can't do ability-based group in our middle schools.
And so when they get to high school, I do allow them to do the ability base.
Great. Yeah. And so then do the groups, do you ever do they ever play together or?
All the time. Okay. So my concerts, I'm not sure if I don't know who gave me this idea. It might have been the teacher before. when we play, each group plays their own song, and then at the end, they all play a song together. Now, the motivation behind this is twofold. First, it's the big reason, and I know this may not be a popular belief, but to keep the younger kids there. So they stay the entire concert.
Leave.
They cannot leave. And then it's also allowing them to almost do a side-by-side with the older kids. And they get to know each other, because otherwise they're separated by class. Yeah. So they don't get to really interact until...
Yeah, they get to grow. They get to grow together and learn together, and it's kind of that bonding moment.
Yes, and then on the side note, I get to hear all the little gossip, like who's the cutest and who's the this and who's the on the side. That's good times. Yeah. So and then they get to, and then for my their holiday concert, I put the top two groups together to play for the holiday concert. We do with the band and the chorus.
Yeah, is your Philharmonic? That's my top your top group. Okay, so you have chamber below that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it was, I didn't change that name. It was always that name when I came in. It was called chamber.
Cool. And then how, like, I guess my question is, how do you go about doing your auditions? Do you just do standard auditions at the end of the year, and then they get placed in those groups for the beginning of the year, or
we have to have our auditions done before spring break.
Okay.
So yes.
That's like April 1st.
Yes, for April.
First week of April.
And the kids get the information around February. It's on the website. I send it out to the teachers, and the kids can go on to the website, and they get all the requirements.
Cool.
And before, it used to be live. They would come in, but COVID, because of COVID, we started doing video. So we were doing. It's changed now. Flip.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I used to.
Yeah, and so we do flip, and which is, I have to say, it's much easier for me than having the kids come in, because they get out of school later than high school does.
Right, so you have to stay really late.
And we can, and then that can end up us being there till like 9 o'clock, so, And then it's stressful to them, and if their parents if they work far away. So the video is much easier. And I found that they practice harder because they don't like that video, so have to redo it. And
they're gonna like it. Hopefully put their best forward.
Yes,
and that's what we can
and sometimes
hope for.
I see a little pet in the back. I may see a cat or two, a little doggy, or a younger sibling.
Nice.
Snuck in.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny. How did COVID? Everybody has different ways that COVID hit them. Oh, man. How did COVID hit you, and how's your recovery going?
For my program.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yes. Personally, no. I'm still in recovery. Mm-hmm. Numbers have been a big challenge for me with COVID. It was really hard on the students. I'm a very social being, and I think kids pick up the personality of the teacher that they have. And because I'm so social, they are also very social in general, and we didn't have that. And that was tough for us. So we tried to do a lot of, I'm sure everybody did. We tried to do a lot of quote unquote social things as much as we could when we were at home. But the effects we're still recouping. We're still recovering from that. So numbers are the biggest thing that have affected us. The expectations, I'm way more realistic and more cognizant of the social side of my students than I ever was. I was always aware of it, but I think it has really ramped up.
Like the mental health issues that are, I think, more prevalent now, and just trying to keep them, in a safe place and happy place.
It's so important.
And it's way different now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that we're there to produce the product of good music and the product of a good sound. But at the end of the day, I want a healthy kid. That's the most important thing. Yeah. So my expectations, I won't say they have changed, but the approach that I use has definitely changed.
Makes sense. Yeah. Numbers are coming. I think are going to start coming back.
Yeah.
But this year's rising juniors and the seniors, had it kind of rough getting into their into their training. And I only have 20 seniors this year and 30 juniors, but I got like 55 sophomores and 55 freshmen. So you can see kind of like, okay, this is the end of one era and the start of another. And so I'm looking forward to that, and just kind of getting back on our feet.
It's gonna. I think also people have to be more realistic of what to program, because we all want to think, well, 2019, I was playing Barber Adagio for strings with my ninth graders, and you're like,
right,
and you're like, I know. These kids have learned on Zoom. They learned in their house, and some of them had smart music, some of them didn't, some of them had whatever they had. They may not have had anything.
The same,
And the expectations have to, or I won't say, but the reality is you're going to have to go back to basics. I think everybody has to go back to basics, and we got to go back. This is how you hold your bow. That is important too, because we'll get back there with your ninth graders playing professional music.
Yeah, right. It's good. It
playing
Shahrazad. It takes a while.
But it's a building, so that definitely has affected my program.
Yeah. It's I'm excited for what's coming up.
Yes.
But at the same time, I don't want to ever treat my current kids who struggled and maybe are behind with any kind of I don't want to treat them differently.
Definitely.
We want to give them the great experience. We want to give them what they need. But it is exciting to see like what's coming up, right?
Yeah. And the kids their attention span is different too. So what they can get excited about is a little different, and their approach to things, or the energy they put forth is different.
Yeah.
I have a teenager. You have a teenager. So it's, it's like the dog and pony show we used to do. It's like a little different. It's like, da, 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 ra, So it's a little different.
It is definitely different. And I think having your own kids that are getting close, or yours are in high school.
Yeah.
Like, how does that impact your teaching? Or maybe your thought process about teaching, or working with your kid.
Yeah. My oldest he's my bonus kid, but he's been with me since he was 6, and now he's 27. So he's mine.
Yes,
he's mine.
For sure.
And when he came into my life, it really changed how I approached more communication with parents than I think with the kids initially, because I would say, well, I said this, it's in the syllabus. This is what we're doing. Da 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 da. And you're like, okay. And I was compassionate, but at the same time, I was like, well, come on, Right. And I realized, wait a minute. Okay, these are their parents. They're possibly spouses. They're employees. They're done. All the things, all the hats that adults wear, and it made me step back a minute.
Yeah.
Now having currently I have a teenager, and as a parent, the most important thing, he has a great teacher, but as long as that teacher nurtures my kid, to me, that is the most important at this point. And it has made me think differently. That has made me think differently with how I approach not just the parents, but the kids as well. Like, it's important that, I want you to teach my kid the instrument. I want them to play well. I want them to do all the great things. But are you taking care of my kid?
First.
Because,
priority number one.
Yes. Is my kid safe? Is my kid loving what, are they happy to come to see you? Are they afraid to come to see you? So that's important.
Yeah. Making yourself available and,
Yes.
I had a very few parent emails this year, which was a nice thing. Coming in as a new person, figuring I was going to have a lot more, and I didn't. And I think the number one thing was that I told my kids, I said, if you need something or you have a problem with something, talk to me. If you go home, then I'm gonna get the email from the parent, and I have to go through them, and they're gonna talk to you, and it just be easier just to make that one way. So trying to make myself available for my kids and approachable and open, and those are the things that will get your kids to trust you.
Correct. I tell my kids, when in my first parent meeting, especially with my ninth graders, I always say, eighth grade or middle school, what you've done before and what you're going to do now is very different because we don't walk them to class, we don't eat with them, and it's so we require more responsibility of them at this point. However, I'm here to communicate with you as much as I possibly can, but at the end of the day, your child is my student.
Yeah.
And they have to advocate for themselves. So if there's a question, I don't have a problem answering the question from you, but I should have heard that question first from your kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I told my personal kid that, like you have to communicate with your teacher.
Right.
And there's not a magic wand that they know everything about you. And 99% of teachers have your best interest at heart. They're not there to do anything negative to you. They're there to help. Right. But if they don't know to help, they can't help.
We had that a little bit with my youngest, and one of his, teachers didn't realize that he was struggling.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you got to talk to her.
Right. Yes.
And when they're in middle school, it's also different too.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yeah, but I have a rising high schooler, and it's interesting to see, the way that he's just growing up and starting to try to get more serious about things, and he wants to be an umpire because he loves baseball. He wants to umpire, and he's going to be able to do that now that he's old enough. So he's going to, so there's things that start happening, which is very cool.
That means driving is right on the horizon for you. Get ready.
No. Yeah, yours is in there right now.
Yes,
He's at the class.
Right now. Taking the class.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Well, very cool. What are some of your philosophies or thoughts on, when your kids come in? Like, what are some of the things that you do? Obviously, what book are you using? What are your main focuses or thoughts? I don't know.
I have always been, I need to have an idea. I think everybody can wing it for a while, but I don't like to wing how I do a school year. So I have a plan every year I go through, and I update what I want them to learn every month. And it's not very specific, but it's I want us to be able to do this, and this by every month. So it's important that my kids come in and I kind of start fresh. I know they know how to hold their instrument. I know they know how to hold their bow, but I treat it as if we don't. And it's important that posture is very important to me.
Sure.
Playing position is important to me because I just shared with you earlier, I'm going through my arthritis and carpal tunnel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't important when I was coming up. That was not something that my teachers focused on.
Right.
And no shade to them at all, but it just wasn't.
Yeah.
And so that important that, these kids, they're able, when they get to be 60, whatever, that they're not having issues because they played the bass or whatever.
And we Kathy and I talked a little bit, Kathy Hudnall, and I talked a little bit about, just her wellness. And
yes, she's really big into that. Yes.
So, it's difficult because, I've noticed even, I don't really have a lot of the problems, but, if I take a lot of time off playing or whatever, however it goes, and then I have to play a gig, it's like, whoa.
Yes.
Yeah, you definitely notice it. So
I don't necessarily do it from a pain management in the system that we talk about it, but we warm up. We in the beginning, for the first month and a half, the first thing we do is we stretch. We do stretches. We do finger stretches. And I'll start it out for the first 2 weeks because no one wants to volunteer. They're nervous. But then I always have a student who leads it. And it's usually one of my athletic students. And they'll go and they do the stretches. And then it's just a way of warming our fingers up. So we're not, I was like, you don't go and run straight. You warm up.
Yeah.
And warm the muscles up. So, but that's important to me that the kids are starting out on an even base. Because I guess, we have kids coming from different feeders. And a routine. They need to understand how I work. And I say, I frown a lot, but not because I'm angry. Part of it is vision. Part is my vision. But the other part is my brain's thinking. And so sometimes I'm thinking and that's my process. So don't take all frowns as something negative.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing what music teachers have to do in order to run a classroom.
Yes. Oh gosh.
When they're like, we have a plan and it never goes to plan. I never had a lesson plan go exactly to plan. It was just maybe in a dream or something.
Oh my gosh, no. I'm just kidding.
But we have to go in and we have to assess and we have to calculate
Yes.
and then come up with these solutions,
Yes.
and some
On
of
the
them,
spot.
some of them are
On the
easier,
spot,
some of
yes.
them are not easy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's did you feel like did that frustrate you when you first started teaching? Was that frustrating?
I just think I wasn't very good at it.
Okay, that's what you equated it to. You're like, oh, I'm bad at this.
Yeah, so I mean,
Okay.
I wanted to get better, and I
Right.
started teaching out in Las Vegas with amazing teachers. Shelley Berger, Chuck Cushionary came in after. There were all these great teachers out there and we did a lot of professional development, and so I had some amazing models to follow and people to learn from. So it helped me improve quickly.
Yeah.
And then the band director and choir directors I worked with at my middle schools out there too were just great to learn from, as far as discipline goes and routine and,
Yes.
and just philosophy.
I think that's important too, to tell upcoming teachers, just like, yes, you're going to have, this is your lesson plan. But like you were saying, it's not going to be exactly, even if you put the script in there and you say everything, there's going to be something different that happens. So the expectation and allowing them to be confident in the flexibility of teaching.
Yeah.
Of this is, you might have a kid that, especially if you're younger, the kids go on a tangent all the time, like, I have a cat named Fluffy or whatever.
They can get away with
Yes,
it maybe a
yes.
little easier.
Yes. And so with my students, I try to give them as much information about me as I know to give. So I talk about the frown. I speak really fast. I'm a Southern girl, so some words, making sure if I say a word that doesn't sound like it's an appropriate word, that's not normal. I'm not normally a cursor, so I don't normally say bad language, which means my Southern is very strong and it's just two words mixed together. Let me know and ask me so that I can clarify.
Where are you from again?
I am from Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Woo-hoo. Yes.
And so you grew up your whole life in Louisiana?
Funny story. Born in Los Angeles, the other LA, and but moved back to Louisiana when I was 3.
It's LA to LA.
Yeah. It's the
Louisiana.
small LA to the big LA.
Yeah,
is what I
right,
say.
right. Okay.
But I grew up. I was raised in Louisiana, and I was raised on the border of Texas and Arkansas. So I am more Texan than I am, like, people think, when they think Louisiana, they think New Orleans. No, I am way more Texan than anything, because where I'm from is like 15 minutes from Texas, from the border of Texas.
I think a lot of people forget about, you hear Louisiana, they're always thinking like,
Yes.
you know.
Cajun.
Yeah, Cajun.
No.
Yeah.
Now, I did go to college down there, but I wasn't raised
You
there.
went to Loyola.
Loyola.
Okay. And were you a Dean Angelis?
I'm a Dean Angelinian, yes.
Dean Angelini. Yeah. So Dean was out a lot in Las Vegas because
Yes.
he and Marcia Neal were close, and then Terry Shade, and that whole crowd.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And
he
we
was
had a
there
lot of students. He recruited a lot. So we had significant amount of students from Vegas that came to Loyola.
Right. And we also took a lot of graduates from Loyola to Las Vegas
Yes.
too. Yeah.
I actually,
Tim Gafka,
when I
I don't know if you know
graduated, I
Tim.
thought about it.
Did you know Tim Gafka? He might have been. He's probably younger. He's a lot younger. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I graduated from undergrad, that was a possibility. It was like you either go to Vegas or you go to Texas, or that was it. That's where you went. You went Vegas or Texas.
The only two
and
places.
So it's like, okay, where do I go? And I ended up going to Texas. But
And so where were you in Texas?
I was at Plano. I was right
In
outside
Plano.
of Dallas.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So you said 4 years there.
4 years there.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what brought you to Atlanta again?
Funny story. I'd done 4 years of middle school, and I wanted to do high school, and looked around, and I didn't see any openings that I was interested in. So I happened to go on. It was a site, like a teacher site, and the job was posted for a job in Clayton County. And I had friends who lived here, but I didn't know anything about the
Right.
county. So I ended up doing it. I was like, well, no kids, no husband, no,
You're free to
I'm
do
free.
whatever you
Why
want.
not?
Yeah.
And so I moved here then and did not like it. My first year, and I actually quit after the first year, and I was moving back to Texas.
Wow.
And my principal, he asked me to stay. He was like, we really think you should stay, da 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 da.
One more year,
Here's the
stick it
funny
out.
thing. I took over the job from Kathy Soche.
Oh, okay.
And Kathy Soche and I went to the same high school, same college, but different times. So I didn't know her during my undergrad year or high school year, because she wasn't Kathy Soche. She was Kathy, what was her last name? I can't think of her last name. It's her maiden name. Her maiden name. And so I had been teaching at the school for 2 years, and I happened to see a picture, and it said her maiden name, and I went, "Oh my goodness, this is her. I've been hearing about this lady forever." And so that's how I ended up getting here, and then I've been here the whole time. Yes,
that's cool. It's a good story. Good story. And so you're a viola player.
Yes.
And I don't know. What are some things that that you've seen kind of going on? It could be really positive things that you've experienced, or some struggles you had. I know we talked a little already about COVID and that recovery, and that's just a struggle in itself. But anything else you see in like our profession or teaching or education?
I have said for a long time, education itself is antiquated. The format we use is antiquated.
Okay.
I don't have the answer to how to fix it. But
in what ways do you say?
We do the same format as we did from the 1950s or from the early 1900s, when the process of how you do school.
Yeah.
We do the exact same thing. Well, we're not the same people. We're not teaching the same things. We definitely don't have the same kind of world. We've advanced so much further. And I do know that online school works for some kids, but it doesn't work for all kids. It wouldn't have worked for me. I need people. I need people. Yeah. And so I just think the
I would have been on
format.
Nintendo the whole time. Or something like that.
Nintendo math, Nintendo science. Yeah. So I just think that there has to be, I think there's a better way. I don't know the way. Yeah. I just think that there's a better way. But in music education, I am happy to see that younger people are comfortable coming forth and saying what they have to say and stepping out. And hopefully more people will, because again, a lot of things we do have been done forever, and we are not meeting the needs of all of our kids.
Yeah,
we're meeting the needs of the kids who have things, their parents are financially comfortable. Maybe maybe they may not be rich, but they're financially comfortable, and they're in a good system in general.
Yeah,
and so that's not really the norm.
And we don't see a lot of that. We get spoiled, and I think the kids.
Oh gosh.
The kids will come in. They'll be like,
right. Right.
And it's like, you have no idea what it could be like.
What it could be. And I've always wanted to be the teacher that can teach in any setting. And that's one of the reasons why I moved here, because I wanted to be able to teach. I was teaching in a setting that's more like where I work now. The kids had things, the money was abundant. And I wanted to be able to teach kids who did not have all the supplies and all the things, and whatever that looked like. And I got the opportunity when I moved here. And I think my best teaching days were when I had to be creative in that setting. And so those were my most creative times. Those were I won't say most successful, because I don't think I was unsuccessful. I think I've done something, like you said, you can always learn.
But those are some of them, like the memories.
I feel like I was like in it. Like, how can I get, because we don't have instruments, so how do I fix this? Or, and so, but I'm excited about the fact that we are finally moving to address the reality of where we are, the world we live in. Yeah. And we're not there. We're still far cry away, but I love seeing younger people not step up, but feel comfortable. Just feel comfortable to be able to say, I want to do this, or no, this isn't right.
Right.
We got to stop doing that. Yeah. And I'm very excited about that, because I'm also learning, I'm learning. Okay, well, got to change that. Oh,
well, it's good that, you have that attitude, because there are a lot of teachers that, it's like, well, it's my way and we're going to do it this way, and maybe aren't as flexible.
That's very easy to get caught into, but I think that's out of fear.
I agree.
That's just
it can
fear
be. Or just complacency.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that. I mean, I've moved around from schools here and there and had different experiences, and so every experience has taught me to deal with something in a different way. Whether it's dealing with parents or dealing with difficult kids or dealing with not having budgets or, that kind of thing. Every school's kind of taught me something different.
Yeah.
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 I'm trying to kind of figure out what my current school will teach me, but I haven't figured it out yet. But I know there's a lot of things I want to do.
Right.
Musically and with the program, and there's a lot of things that have been done that have just been amazing for decades. Yeah. So whether or not those things happen again or happen in a different way, and I don't know.
Well, that's the beauty of having someone different come in whenever, that you're. I've always said, I've had the opportunity to do some teacher trainings, and you're never the person that was before. Whether that person was good or bad, it doesn't matter. You're never that person, so don't try to be.
Right.
Be who you are, authentically you, and you're gonna. It's every lesson, like you were saying, is not gonna be the best lesson, and you might not feel like you're teaching to the best of your ability all the time. Mm-hmm. However, you create the environment. The kids will pick up on what you want, and they will follow you to the ends of the earth as long as they know that we're in this thing together. Yeah. And so it doesn't matter that the teacher before, they did Midwest every year. I know they can. Yeah. But if they, if there's a rotation, it won't matter because those kids are gone.
Yeah.
And that is that legacy for that teacher. But your legacy will be your legacy, and it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome, and you're going to do things that even though they may have done this, they've not done whatever you're going to do. Yeah. So it's going to. I just, it's an exciting time. I know a new school is weird in the sense of getting used to the culture of the school and getting people to buy into what you say. And I think that part was easy.
I think I fit in pretty well with the kids, and that was the easier part. My colleagues were great. Admin was amazing, just supportive, but. Not micromanaging, and
that's good,
which is always nice. Yeah. There's always going to be little things, and I tried to keep the things the kids wanted, too, because there are things. Well, maybe I don't really want to do that, but if the kids,
change is hard for everybody, an immediate change, and that's another thing I think people don't get. So when you go to a new place, you don't have to change everything immediately. Yeah. Because there are kids who
shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't. I mean, that is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
You just, it has to be on a time where the kids can adjust to it. And it may take, one of the teachers in the school told me, she said that it took her 7 years to get to where she felt comfortable in her position. I was like, and then you're thinking, that's a long time. Right. I don't know if that's, how it is. I don't know if that's how I felt, but it did take time for me to feel comfortable and felt like, okay, this is what I want. And the kids are like, okay, now we know. And I've taught the parents, this is what we want to do. And this is where we're going. And these are kind of things. You know.
And once they get on board, then it starts to roll. You're probably there where it's kind of like we've done this, we're going to keep doing this, and then you do something new and do some new things.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're going to do a great job. I'm excited about it.
I am too, and it's there were a lot of personal things that brought me here too, just being close and having that work-life balance. Yeah. I got a lot of time back this past year. Yeah. A lot of time in the car and a lot of time just with my kids and vacations that I didn't have before. So
oh man, vacation! I love it.
Yeah, and for me, it's you're not going to get that time back.
Right, your kid will never be the age they were then. So or you won't be that time.
Well, that too. Important. Yeah. So you're we're both presenting at the ASTA virtual conference. Which they call
the 16th and 17th.
Is it what do they call it? Is virtual?
The virtual summit.
Summit. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I was looking for the right word. That's the 17th and 18th.
17th and 18th of July.
Yes. And people can still register for that.
They still can. They could just go on to astastrings.org and it's going to be the link there, and they can still register.
Yeah, I think it's like $125, $160. No. So I think it may be $160, but tons of sessions and. You don't have to do them all in those 2 days. They're going to be recorded. So once you register and pay, you have access for 6 months. And
it's a little different than the In-Face conference. And I think that some people say, well, I just went. I was just in Orlando, so why would I want to do this? Because it's a little different. You have some different sessions.
Lots of different sessions.
Yes, and you have different presenters. So, and just more of an eclectic style of presenters and presentations, and so it'll be interesting. It'll be very fun. Yeah.
And what is your topic?
Shifting, fun ways to shift. Yes.
Cool.
Yes. So now don't look at my fingernails, because this summer I did get some fingernails, but they will be on in time. Don't look.
You're in trouble.
Don't look.
You're busted.
Oh no, yeah. But yeah. So shifting, and I will be talking about it. Not, although I'm a violist, I'm going to do it on all 4 instruments.
Cool.
So just not necessarily in depth. So it's not an in-depth session because we don't have time to really do one of those.
Yeah, it's
but just
45
minutes.
45
Yes.
minutes
So just some fun tricks and things to do. For those of you that know Amy Clement and Sarah Ball, I'm not on that level of fun yet.
Right.
But
I got to get both of them on here too, because that would be a hoot.
Oh man, yeah. But we do some fun things that you can do and not have to. I believe in trick or tips that you can do and not have to do so much background to.
Yeah.
It's like so much prep. Who has the time? Like, oh yeah, you can do all of this. And like, yeah, but spend 12 hours doing this before you actually do it. Like,
we need like express tips.
Yes, yes. We're in a fast-paced world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just things that can maybe make it easier or reach the kids who are struggling with traditional.
Yes.
Kind of.
I was one of those kids that not shifting, but vibrato was very challenging for me as a kid. So I always like to get little tips on that. Yeah. What's your session? What are you doing?
I'm doing a session on intonation.
Ooh.
I think that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. So fun fact, I don't know. I think I've
done it
told you
before.
This.
But...
when my first year, I think it was my first year in Cobb, you were doing your research project on intonation with middle schoolers.
Yeah.
And I was teaching at that time, and so when I was doing my research project was on intonation in ensembles. I used that research, your research, as a basis of mine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Full circle.
There have been a couple people that have been taken mine to do some more things, and I just haven't done any more research. It's hard to. But John Ryan Zabanal.
Yeah, I used one of his and some Rebecca's. Yeah. And Michael Hopkins.
Yeah. Well, Mike Michael knows this, but I had him as a visiting lecturer at KSU.
Okay.
When I was going through all this, and I was struggling with the SPSS, the statistical packages for social sciences. It's a software package that does all the...
What you just said was to my brain. But
I have to say it slow, Egg. The statistical package for the social sciences. But it's the software that you use to, manipulate and run your data and get all your things. And
see, my brain
he was a whiz with that, and I had no idea. And he helped me.
Nice.
I would not have gotten it done without his help. So, I owe Michael the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's several people that I owe the world to get.
But that's the beauty of, I feel like, our community, the string community, and I'm sure the band community and chorus community has the same thing. But we are willingly helpful.
Oh yeah.
We're willing to help.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, you got this? Okay. So
and I enjoy it. Like you were asking me, like, well, why do you do the podcast? And it's like, well, I like giving back to the community. I like just chatting with people, and it's a little bit therapeutic for me just to think about a whole bunch of things, and it's professional development for me to come and learn from you and everybody else.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, probably your version, a version of self-care for you. Yeah.
It definitely is. Definitely. This is this is episode 58.
Nice.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
So I know. And we've gotten a lot this summer. But yeah, it's exciting and it's fun.
That's nice.
Fun to do.
Nice.
Well, Corie, hey, thank you so much for coming out and being here.
Thank you.
It has been nice chatting with you, and looking forward to this year. And we have a month and a half or so. A little over a month, I guess. I know.
We go back so early.
We go back really early, everybody. We're in school back in July.
Yeah.
End of July.
The kids come August 1st.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but we have some great breaks.
We do, yes.
Some really great breaks, and that's really enjoyable. So, but Corie, thanks again for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate
everybody,
it.
This will be on in a little over an hour with Michael Boitz from Saratoga, California. Not in the studio, but on our Google Meet call. and hopefully you'll enjoy that. But again, it's been a pleasure, and just really, really, I've had an awesome time talking to you.
Thank you,
So
guys.
we'll see all of you guys very soon. This is Dr. Charles Laux with the Orchestra Podcast. Say goodbye.
That was fun. Hopefully.
Thank you for tuning in. For resources and more information, visit orchestrateacher.net.